You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. You are listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. This is podcast number 6. So we're pushing right through them. We're getting the episodes out there, and that's always a good thing. Thank you for joining me on this Saturday or whenever it is that you listen to this podcast. We got a lot to get into today. It's odd saying that, being that, all the sports leagues have pretty much shut down, but still, nonetheless, there is a lot to get into dealing with the coronavirus, and we got a little video game talk coming up in the podcast today, and DWade. I'll give my thoughts on him calling out his son's head coach. But normally, I like to start the podcast off with the all things Atlanta segment, but I feel that with the coronavirus pretty much shutting everything down and everyone taking caution, I figured that I would start there today instead. Um, this past Wednesday, I can admit that I took the virus seriously, but maybe not as seriously as I should have. Um, until Rudy Gobert, came down with the virus, and I think maybe a lot of everyone probably didn't take the serious. I'm sorry, but didn't take the virus as serious as they should have. And I read an article that said Rudy Gobert saved everyone from the coronavirus, and I kind of just put it into context what the article was saying, that no one took it seriously until an athlete came down with it. Sometimes we look at athletes as superheroes. They're superhuman. They're indestructible. When we just saw one player come down with the virus, and we're like, well, if he can get it, then I can certainly get it. So this past Wednesday, it was a crazy day of events. First, the Warriors, they were set to play without any fans uh, in the Chase Center. I believe they were playing the. Well, I'm not going to speculate on who they were playing, but um, it team and it was on the tip of my tongue too. But the Golden State Warriors were going to play. Um, I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday. I'm sorry, it was Thursday. They were going to play without any fans in the Chase Center. Then after that, the Seattle Mariners um, said that they weren't playing their any opening home games in March. Then after that, the Jazz and Thunder game, became postponed Wednesday night due to a player testing positive for the coronavirus, and we now know that player's name. Jazz All-Star center Rudy Gobert. He contacted the virus, and then after that, we went to Vince Carter down in Atlanta, possibly playing his last game in the NBA that night. Then we went to the NBA suspending the season that Wednesday night after all the scheduled games were played. Then we went to the last game of Wednesday night between the Pelicans and Kings being postponed due to one of the refs officiating the game. He had officiated the Utah Jazz last game. Then we go to the next day, Thursday. The N well, the NCAA, doing what they do, showing it's all about money. Pretty much saying, forget the kids' health. We need to get paid. Um, that's another story for a different day, but you know where I'm coming from when I tell you this. They canceled. Well, I'm sorry, they didn't even cancel it. It was the the conference, the head of the conferences that canceled the conference tournament games, but the Big East started their game only to be canceled at halftime. That game never should have been played at all. It made no sense. I read an article also that Knicks management, they wanted to continue on playing the games, and that sounds like the New York Knicks right now. But the public address announcer at Madison Square Garden shared the Big East decision over the PA system, and fans, of course, they were upset over the news that the game was being canceled at halftime after one half had already been played, and you know, pretty much all this has been shut down by Rudy Gobert. It leads back to him, and he is the Utah Jazz All Star center. He's putting up some good numbers this year. He's averaging 15 points, 13 boards, and 2 blocks. Was he being careless? I don't know. Utah Jazz players privately are saying that he was being careless and he was touching other players' belongings, and he just was saying that the coronavirus isn't real, and he ended up passing this virus to Jazz guard Donovan Mitchell. And I also read a report last night that there was a younger child, I believe from Rhode Island, that he possibly passed this coronavirus to. And the thing that sucks about this for Rudy Gobert is that he is now going to be the poster boy for this virus. He's not the person who made this virus up. No one goes around saying, "Oh, I can't wait to get this virus." And I hate it for him in that aspect, but at the same time, he should have taken it seriously. That's something you don't play with. You don't play with your health or other people's health. People have kids they go home to. They don't want to pass this on to elderly family members or their children. And you're going around, just disregarding whatever news is coming out. And some people aren't taking it seriously. I even called out uh, from one of my jobs this week because of the virus. I work in a situation where we have certain things coming from all over the world, and we don't know, well, we know where it's coming from. We just don't know when it came, but it was a little concerning. And I told my supervisor I would not be coming in. It was one night this weekend. I mean, sorry, one night this week. And he replied to me that the coronavirus is not a deadly virus. Wow. That's all I could say was wow. I showed a couple guys the text message. I showed my girlfriend the text message, and we couldn't believe it. But like I said, some people, they aren't taking it seriously. I, for one, like probably most people, weren't taking it that seriously until Rudy Gobert came down uh, with the virus, and but did he save the world really? Like I said, I read an article saying that he he saved the world by giving this virus and letting people know, hey, if he got it, a lot of people can get it. So with that being said, and look, there's nothing we can do to really stop this virus. There's no cure for this virus. They're trying to come out with a vaccine to combat the virus. All you can do is wash your hands, cover your mouths when sneezing or coughing. You don't want to spread germs to other people. That's something you should be doing anyway. That's just proper hygiene. You wash your hands and keep your hands away from your face. I know some people, you might have an office job and you're rubbing your eyes trying to stay awoke, and you might be snacking on something, putting your hands to your mouth. So try to do less of that. Try and keep your hands away from your face. Wash your hands, cover your mouths, and use hand sanitizers and stay safe, and just basically use just common sense. That's really all you can do at the moment. And hopefully there is a vaccine very soon. My prayers, my thoughts and prayers are with the people who have been affected by this virus. There was a death here in Georgia this week from the virus. I think I saw that it was Alabama, Mississippi, had their first case of the coronavirus, and people, it is serious. So just, be safe out there. You have studios shutting down shows like I saw that First Take. Well, FS1 has shut down all their shows for the time being. There are some talk shows that have been shut down due to this virus. So people just stay safe, use common sense, wash your hands, hand sanitizer, all that good stuff, and let's just hope that we can get through this. We've got through some other viruses that have attacked the world. So let's just keep on pushing, and we'll get through this. So moving on to some lighter news, lighten the mood up around here. That's what you're here for. You want to have fun right here on the podcast with Mike Davis. We spoke about Barry Bonds not being able to crack the Hall of Fame again. He only has 2 more years of, well, I think, to keep his name on the ballot. He didn't get enough percent of the votes this go around. And he says that he feels he's been exiled by the MLB. I think he is a Hall of Famer. A lot of people don't. One of my friends told me that he agrees with my brother. I spoke with my brother about this, and he agrees with my brother to a certain extent. And I came around to his side. He didn't think that Barry was a Hall of Famer, but he said because Barry was doing it before he went to San Francisco, because it seems like a lot of people have forgotten his Pittsburgh years. If he said that if Barry's career was solely just based on San Francisco, if that's the only baseball he had played, he wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame. But the point I've made that I'm standing by is Barry was doing it before the steroid era. And I saw something where Pete Rose, no, I'm sorry, not Pete Rose, Hank Aaron was talking about Pete Rose. I just saw an interview with him. And he mentioned that Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame, but Pete Rose shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I think both should be in the Hall of Fame. I think that Pete Rose has served his time. Now, you're talking about being exiled from baseball. Pete Rose has been exiled from the MLB. They have nothing to do with Pete Rose at all. So that is a man who I think deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I think both of them deserve to be in there, but Hammering Henry Aaron says Bonds, yes, Rose, no. So my question of the day, though, stemming from that, is which MLB home run hitter was a bigger disappointment to you? Was it Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, or Sammy Sosa? If you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, make sure you comment on this question and why. Why did you come up with the decision that you've come up with? I would like to hear your thoughts. And on that note, I'm going to step away and take a break. We're going to come back with a little 2K talk. Yeah, it might not be the 2K that you're thinking about, but get ready. 2K is coming back in a sort of way. I'm Mike Davis. You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. I'll catch you on the other side of this break. Welcome back. You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. And going into this second segment of the show, I wanted to bring you in on a little pastime of mine, video games. I loved video games like most kids, growing up. But there was some news coming out for 2K lovers. Not NBA 2K, but NFL 2K. I mentioned this on my last podcast, and I wanted to go a little more in depth into it. NFL 2K is developing a non-simulation game with the NFLPA in agreement. So the last time 2K made an NFL game was back in 2004. That was when the final installment of the NFL 2K franchise was released. Now, the key word in that phrase was non-simulation. They are making a non-simulation game coming soon to a console near you. For those of you that don't know what that is pretty much where when you think non-simulation with sports, you think NBA Jam, NFL Street, NBA Street. Me myself, I was a favorite. I love NFL 2K. I thought NFL 2K had surpassed Madden. I played it on the Dreamcast. Yes, people, I had a Dreamcast. I thought the Dreamcast was a superior system to the PS2. I had played the PS2. I liked it. You know, I was coming from off of a PS1. Um, at the time, I hadn't owned a PS2, but I ended up owning a Dreamcast, and that's when I played NFL 2K for the first time. I believe that was when it first came out. That was the only system it was on. I don't know if NFL 2K made its way to other platforms, but I love the NFL 2K games, but they were simulation games, which meant they played like a real football game. You had real playbooks, uh, real players, but the gameplay was real. The speed was real. It wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't NFL Street. You know, guys spinning the football on their fingers. And I believe that is the game that is coming soon to a console near you. You know, I'm not big on non-simulation games. I did enjoy NBA Street. You know, that was a non-simulation game. I loved playing that. That was a good video game. But when I think non-simulation, I think games like Tecmo Bowl. Remember the Tecmo Bowl? You had Tecmo Bowl on NES, and you had Super NES Tecmo Bowl, and those were some good days, man. I mean, what's funny was remember on Tecmo Bowl how you had the real players, but you didn't have the real teams. Well, that was if you're old enough to remember the games on NES, the original 8-bit NES. And you know, I remember I loved using the Dolphins. Dan Marino was a beast of a quarterback on that game. You know, you can go to from one end of the end zone and launch the ball to the other end of the end zone with Dan Marino. It was some quarterbacks. I tried it with everybody. You can't do it with every quarterback. Some quarterbacks on Tecmo Bowl were only able to throw that ball maybe 50 yards, but Dan Marino was a beast on that game. Remember Bo Jackson on that game? Is Bo Jackson the best video game character of all time? Bo Jackson was unstoppable on that game. Remember the no Raider rule? You couldn't play with the Raiders because of Bo Jackson. You know, and he only had one play on that game. Remember that he only had one play, and they used to call that play touchdown. You know, that's all that needed to be said. That was it. But I had some good times. I remember playing it was another football game, play action football on Super Nintendo. Anybody remember that game? They had it on NES too, but I played the one on Super Nintendo more. That was the one you could create your high school on there. You could play college uh football on there and pros. Man, love those days. Those were some good times playing those games. But I want to talk about price points though with those games as far as 2K goes. Remember when 2K games were like 19.99? Does anybody remember that, or is that just me? You know, I think that was one of the reasons why 2K started to beat up on Madden games and NBA Live. You know, the price point you can beat 19.99 versus 49 or 59. Look, give me that 2K game all day long, man. I wish you can find two. You can't even find NBA 2K now for 19.99. But Man, those you can beat that price for and it was a good football game. NFL 2K, NBA 2K, NFL 2K5 was the best. It was the best, and you can use first person on there. Woo! I couldn't see. I didn't know what I was doing because it was hard to, you couldn't see guys that were running into you. But man, it was good times, good times. So due to this news, Electronic Arts, which is EA Sports, they released a statement saying that our partnership with the NFL and NFLPA remains unchanged. Please tell me why EA felt compelled to make that statement. They came out with that press release. I mean, is this because the last time they were losing the sports war, video game war, when 2K5 was released? Remember, EA Sports went and got exclusive rights. They have exclusive simulation rights uh, with the NFLPA, which is why NFL 2K they can't make a simulation game, because they don't have the rights. EA does. Uh, so yeah, so as a result of EA, obtaining the exclusive NFLPA rights to the Madden license, Visual Concept was forced to kill the NFL 2K series and focus on NBA 2K, which is my opinion. They also destroyed NBA Live. Just completely. Live has not been the same since 2K came out. I can tell you, I've played every NBA 2K game. I played NBA Live from about 96 to about 2005. Remember when they had the freestyle? I don't know if it was Vince Carter on the cover or it was Jason Kidd, but they came out with the freestyle on the game, which I thought was utter nonsense, because on Live, you can have your center, your center could be your point guard, which we know in a real basketball game, that's not going to happen. And they don't have handles like that for real. And this was in a non-simulation NBA Live game. And this is why 2K is winning. The NFL 2K franchise lasted from 99 to 04, but it is back in 2021, which more than likely will be on the PlayStation and Xboxes, the new systems that will release this holiday season. So, parents, get your coins ready, get your money ready. I'm pretty sure your kids are going to be asking for this new system and this new 2K NFL 2K that's coming out. So yeah, get your ducats in line, get your money in order because it's coming, parents. So let's move away from that. That was just a little video game talk. I wanted to talk about one of my favorite pastimes. I'm still a video game guy. I'm on Xbox all the time now. But moving on. Stephon Marbury, he made the news this week saying that LeBron isn't a real Laker. I listened to him on Ebro in the morning of this week, and he didn't make the LeBron isn't a real Laker statement on the Ebro in the morning show. He didn't make that statement on there, but I took some things away from Stephon Marbury that I never really thought about. Marbury, I think he's misunderstood. He made some valid points about certain life things and the way he lives his life and how he criticizes others, like one being Michael Jordan, when it comes to the shoes and not really helping as far as putting his own word out there, helping communities. Michael Jordan never really has been that. He's kind of been in the background. He's made contributions, without making statements from his own mouth. Whereas we see it, him saying it himself. Marbury has spoke out against that before, saying, the people worship the ground Jordan walks on, and there's a lot more he can do. He's even been critical of LeBron James. Like I said, he came out this week and said LeBron isn't a real Laker, but I think, as I was saying, he's misunderstood. The way he talks, I understand. Me being a black man, I understand where he's coming from. It comes off as something else, but I don't want to turn this into a race thing, but you know, if you didn't come up a certain way, you won't really get what he's saying, if that makes sense. Like I said, he comes off as misunderstood. I do believe he has good intentions, and he talks about how he's doing a lot of philanthropy work in China. He's really turned his life around. Now, he lost me a little bit when he was talking about the whole Vaseline thing on Ebro. And he was like, "You're worried about me eating Vaseline," but he was like, "Your mom and your pops are on drugs, and I'm the one that's giving them money to help them, to better them, to get them out of the situation they're in, and yet you're their family and you're nowhere to be found." You know, I got what he was saying, but he lost me a little bit too because bro, I'm not eating Vaseline. I'm not eating no one's any any kind of Vaseline. He lost me a little bit on that, but I wanted to touch on the him saying that LeBron isn't a real Laker. Um, I get what he was saying about that also. Again, I think he's a little misunderstood because of his tone and how he comes off. And there are some people that's like that. They have good in their heart and they mean well, but the way they say things, it just comes off being as another. And I don't think he meant any disrespect to LeBron, but he was saying that he didn't have to carry Kobe Bryant's legacy, like he said, because the legacy is set. What legacy are you carrying? The legacy is already set. Kobe's legacy is there. There's nothing else to be done. All you need to do is worry about yourself and be yourself. You know. And no, I agree with him in this aspect. LeBron is not a real Laker. I don't care how you want to put it. Yeah, he's a Laker now. Even if he won the championship, he wins 2 championships. He's not a real Laker. I mean, he came there at what, 33, the end of his career. Still the best player of all time. You have to say this because people think you're hating on LeBron. Excuse me. People think you're hating on LeBron when you say this. Oh, you're just hating. LeBron's one of the best. No, LeBron is the best, but he's not a real Laker. LeBron is a Cleveland Cavalier. He's a Cleveland Cavalier. I don't even respect his championships with the Miami Heat at all. I respect one championship, and that is the one he brought to the city of Cleveland in the state of Ohio. So, yeah. Give you a little rundown on Stephon Marbury in case you forgot who Stephon Marbury is. Stephon Marbury, he played his college ball here in Atlanta at Georgia Tech. I believe under Bobby Crimmins. I remember those years he played with Drew Barry. At then it was known as the Thunderdome. But yeah, he played his college ball at Georgia Tech. He was the 4th pick of the 1996 NBA draft by the Minnesota Timberwolves. He ended up playing for the New Jersey Nets, Phoenix Suns, New York Knicks, and Boston Celtics. He was an All-Star in 2001, 2003, and an All-NBA third team in 2000 and 2003. After the NBA, he took his talents to the Chinese Basketball Association, the CBA, from 2010 to 2018, winning 3 CBA championships with the Beijing Ducks in 2012, 2014, 2015. Throughout his NBA career, he averaged 19 points, 7 assists, 1 steal a game. Not bad numbers for a point guard. Pretty decent numbers, if you ask me. Those numbers today will keep you on the NBA team. He is the cousin of Sebastian Telfair, who he last played with OKC, I believe. He got into a little bit of trouble with the gun laws up in New York not too long ago. You can go read about that on your own. You won't get into all that. But Stephon has done some nice philanthropy work. In 2001, he donated $250,000, $250,000 to sponsorships to help the victims of the September 9/11 attacks. We all remember that very well, very vividly. One of the worst things to happen on U.S. soil. So he helped out with victims in that situation. In 2005, he donated between $500,000 to $1 million to help the victims of Hurricane Katrina. That was another terrible thing to happen. One of the worst things I've ever seen. Seeing people suffering in New Orleans. After Hurricane Katrina, the images are just mind blowing. It was horrible. It was horrible. Uh, so shout out to Marbury helping out those victims in the Hurricane Katrina. And 2007, Stephon donated $4 million to New York City, $1 million each to the NYPD, the Fire Department of New York, and the EMTs of New York, and the New York City Teachers Fund. 2014, Marbury was named to the top 10 model citizens for Beijing due to his commitment to the Beijing community and the charity work he provided for it. He became the first international citizen to earn such an honor since its inception by the Beijing government. In 2015, Marbury applied for and received a Chinese green card, a permanent residence permit. He is the fifth American basketball player to receive a green card. On October 20th, 2017, it was announced that Marbury had reached an agreement to become the owner of the Beijing Lions of the China Arena Football League. So Marbury is out there doing some good things. Shout out to Marbury. Give my man Marbury a hand, can we? Shout out to Marbury, Stephon doing his thing. Check out that Ebro in the morning interview with Stephon. Great interview. He also had to check Ebro in the beginning when he was talking about that coronavirus. And, Marbury had to check him a little bit. Like I said, some things I didn't know about Marbury. He's going to come off a little misunderstood in the interview, but you'll respect him a heck of a lot after hearing it. Marbury is that guy, and he definitely has earned my respect. So we're going to take a break here, and coming back, we are going to talk about the story of the week I have. You're not going to believe the story that I have for you. And we're going to get into a little bit of Dwyane Wade, talking about his son not playing enough. We're going to get into a little bit of that. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis, and I will catch you on the other side. Welcome back. You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. So I have a story. I want to get out there. I want to talk about, and it was funny to me. Hopefully, it's as funny to you as it was to me. But this is my story of the week. There is a female pastor who claims to heal church members. Do you want to know how she claims to heal church members, specifically male church members? Let me put that in there. Ladies, you might not like this story. A female pastor identified as Pastor Miss Veronica has claimed that she uses private parts to heal church members. Pastor Veronica, who is the founder of Life of Faith and Prosperity Ministry in Asaba, Delta State, which is located in Nigeria. According to reports, the pastor who was offering a sermon to her congregation during church service said that any man that makes love to her will be healed of his fertility problem. According to Pastor Veronica, her mission on earth is to cure fertility problems in men. And once any of them sleeps with her and her body touches his manhood, such a man will be healed of his fertility problem. She goes on to say that my mission on earth is to cure men of their infertility problems through sleeping with them. Each session must not last more than 2 minutes. I am pretty sure right now there are some guys going, how do I get to Nigeria and where is this church located in Nigeria? Oh, wow. Would this church work here in the United States? Would that church work here? Could you tell your lady, hey, babe, let's go check out that new church that's over there on 125th. I hear that pastor over there is really, she's really laying healing hands on people. I think I can use some of that healing. Not gonna take long. Just give me 2 minutes. So ladies out there, be careful if your guy all of a sudden just says, you know what, baby, let's go to this church around the corner. I heard some good things about it. Wow. Wow. All right. That was my story of the week. Let's get into the next topic. Zaire Wade. This is Dwyane Wade's son. This is his oldest son, a senior in high school. Dwyane Wade recently said on TNT that he will not be attending his son's state title games because his son's not getting enough minutes. So Zaire Wade is a point guard at Sierra Canyon in Chatsworth, California. That's he transferred there from American Heritage in Miami after last season. He is a senior with a 3-star ranking and few college offers. Zaire Wade transferred to Sierra Canyon at the same time that Bronny James, who is LeBron James' son, started his high school career there. Wade is a point guard by trade who plays both guard spots at times for the Trailblazers. That means he is playing behind both Gatorade National Player of the Year finalist Brandon Boston Jr., who was a 5-star All-American guard and a projected top 10 pick in the 2021 NBA draft. He's also playing behind Amari Bailey, who was a 5-star sophomore guard who also projects as a future NBA player. Zaire Wade only averages 4 points a game and is a recruit of only the only offers so far he's gotten is from DePaul, Rhode Island, and Toledo. I'm gonna say it. Dwyane Wade came off to me as one of those dads before I even read into what the situation was. I'm Dwyane Wade. That's my son. You play him, and that's all there is to it. Look, Wade. Your son is playing behind guys who are projected to go to the NBA. I have not heard anything about DWade's son being projected to go to the NBA. It is what it is. Now, if you wanted your son to have more playing time, maybe you shouldn't have checked him out from American Heritage down in Miami just so he can play with LeBron James' son. I gotta say it. It's a lot of it's certain things I can't say because this podcast will be going on to YouTube as well. But there's a lot of it's dudes a little too close for my comfort. Just because your best friend kid is going to the high school here, you say, well, you know what? Let me take my kid and take him across the country and put him over here where he's not going to get any PT, but just so he can play with my homeboy's kid on the same team. Look, get out of here, dog. All right, you guys. I don't know what it is about some generations or some guys. It just you come off as butt buddies. Okay, I'm trying to keep it PG. I want to go off so bad, but I'm trying to keep it PG. You never should have checked your son out of the school he was in Miami if you wanted him to have more PT. Sometimes you got to make a choice. Do you want more PT or you want to be sitting on the bench of the team that's winning? It all depends on what you want. What do you want to do? Do you want to play? Now let's go where we can get some playing time. Okay? D Wade's son doesn't sound like it is He's all that and some more. You know, think about LeVar Ball marketed his kids in a way that DWade hasn't been able to. You know, I don't know much about the youngest, LaMelo. I've seen games of his, well, not games, but you know when they went over. What is the Lithuanian they played? But you saw those big balling games, and he was marketing him, and he was saying, "Look, this my kid's going to be a top pick in the NBA draft." Okay, I haven't heard that about D-Wade's son at all. Now I've been hearing about LaMelo since he was a freshman in high school. Here it is, D-Wade, your son is a senior, and he has offers from DePaul, Rhode Island, and Toledo. And maybe some schools just figure, hey, he doesn't need a scholarship. His dad, he is an ex-NBA player with millions of dollars. He can just pay his way in school and he can walk on, But D-Wade just came off as salty to me. I didn't like it. I don't like when parents try and check the coach because look, sometimes your kid just isn't good, okay? And that's fine. That's fine. The kid doesn't have to be as good as his dad. Not every kid is going to be Steph Curry. Not every kid is going to be Seth Curry or Klay Thompson or Tim Hardaway Jr. or Arvydas Sabonis kid who plays in Indiana. You have some kids that's going to be Patrick Ewing. Some kids are going to be David Stockton. Some kids are going to be Marcus Jordan. Look at that. Michael Jordan's own son. Michael Jordan, in my opinion, is the best basketball player of all time. A lot of people consider him to be the best player as well. And his sons are nowhere on that level as he was. They're not even close. They weren't even close to sniffing NBA roster. They didn't play. I think one played at Illinois, but they didn't play like they weren't playing. They didn't play for the powerhouse schools. You know, I think one played for Illinois, and that might be the same kid who transferred down to the school in Florida. I'm not sure what school it was, but he transferred down. I think it was UCF. He transferred to. You know, and like I said, every kid doesn't have to be this all-star like his dad. You know, and Wade, your son has D1 offers. It might not be to the schools of your choice, but you know, maybe he should be playing D2 and just get a good education. And then maybe he shouldn't have played at a school that was so stacked, and he should have stayed where he was at. But I can't tell anybody how to parent or raise their kids. That's not my job. I have my own kids to raise. You have your own kids to raise. And the fact of the matter is, I'm just giving my opinion. I think he never should have left his high school in Miami and then it being his senior year just so he can play, in California because D-Wade and LeBron, they are homeboys or whatever, which makes absolutely no sense to me, but it is what it is. All right, welcome back. You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. We're about to close out this show, but before I do, I want to talk about the Player of the Week. I'm going to give out my Player of the Week awards. Not much to go on due to the fact that the coronavirus has pretty much shut down all and everything sports wide. I don't know what we're gonna do, guys, but we'll figure it out. We'll keep punching these podcasts out, and we'll get through it. But getting into it, this was a tough one. So for my guy who showed up this week, I wanted to give it to Trae Young, me being a homer for Atlanta. In a game this week, he had 40 points. He had 40 in a win. I'm sorry, he had 40 in a loss to the New York Knicks, but he had 6 turnovers. So I can't give it to Trae. Luka Doncic, he had an amazing stat line in one game this week. He had 38 points, and his stat line was amazing. Not going to go through all that, but the reason I couldn't give it to him, he had 5 turnovers in that game. So, Player of the Week, get ready, guys. I want you to give this man an applause. Terry Rozier of the Charlotte Hornets had himself a game. Give that man a round of applause. Terry Rozier in a loss. Yeah, I know, an L. But hey, I got nothing to work with this week. Things are kind of shut down. Terry Rozier had 40 points, 4 boards, 3 assists to only 1 turnover. 15 of 26 from the field, 8 of 13 from three-point land in a loss Monday to Atlanta. Look, turnovers play a part. You can't play point guard and you got 6, 7, 8 turnovers. Bruh, I need you to take care of the ball, cut down on the turnovers. Terry Rozier had himself a game. Okay, cut down on the turnovers, and some of you other guys, you guys could have got this award. It was rough this week, but Rozier, you are our winner. Our other player of the week, he had an amazing stat line as well. I got to do it to him, but I got to. I think he's one of the better point guards in the league. But Gordon Dragic, you also win our player of the week for the worst stat line of this week. Gordon Dragic, you had 26 minutes, played 26 minutes, scored 3 points, 1 of 9 from the field, 0 of 4 from three-point land, and 5 turnovers and a loss to the Hornets before the season was suspended. People out there, tell Gordon Dragic what you think about his performance. Sorry, guys, I had to do it. Sorry, Gordon. Maybe next time. And on that note, I will close the podcast out. I want to thank you for spending your time with me. If you're listening to the podcast on Spotify or Anchor, go ahead and check out the podcast on YouTube as well. I am putting the podcast over there. Check us out. And when you're there, give the podcast a like and a comment. Subscribe to the channel. Debate me, okay? Don't treat me like a side chick over there, I just ask you to like, comment, subscribe. Going to the page on the YouTube, click on my Twitter link on the YouTube page and follow me over there too. And I got nothing else, guys. So we'll wrap it up. This is it. You've been listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. And remember, it's your world. I just give my opinion. Peace.